One of the hardest things to talk about these days is gun rights and civil rights, health violations, and everything else going on these days. As I was trying to understand the situation, it gets more and more clear that we have to surrender more of our rights to get more protection. We have to give up more liberties to become more and more secure. However, some people are still under the illusion that no, we do not. Yeah, we do actually. Every time we have a shooting, every time there is a shooting happening in our country or anywhere else, in our country actually, so might as well see it in our country, the usual arguments concerning about owning a gun, not owning a gun, limiting guns, not limiting guns, background checks, no background checks, and then trying to find out who their sick people are so you keep the guns away from them or not to find them. And the thing of it is, that's also civil rights issues and privacy laws. That's your security that you want to have, but you have to surrender a freedom. Now, I was trying to understand this in political science classes past few years. And I've heard more and more about the arguments these days, but they're really not addressing the issue at this point. The issue is how much security are you going to be willing to sacrifice for your freedom? You want the gun? Fine. But you're going to have to be responsible for the gun. They say, well, I am responsible for the gun. Are you? And the people don't want responsibility, they just want the freedom. They want to make sure that they own the property to quote unquote protect themselves. Well, so far, for those who are trying to protect themselves, I haven't seen any action from all these people saying that I want my gun to protect me, and yet they get into a situation and they don't. They're not protected. Simply put, they're caught off guard. So now they're going to say, well, we need to have everybody have the guns. Okay, everybody has the guns, let's say. And you still get a nut job in there. Now, theoretically, you're supposed to have the people properly, or quote unquote properly trained, or not even trained at all, having a gun and pointing it and shooting. Now, the argument on this one is how many people get hurt in the process because of the damn crossfire because somebody else doesn't know how to use a damn gun. Yet in Texas, bills are being passed in order to have people to gain the freedom without the responsibility of owning it. And if they happen to murder somebody, it's like, oh well. We're going back to the old West or something like that. But even though in the West they had a code of justice, they had theoretical laws during that time. But they want people who are mentally unstable, very much unstable, not to have a gun. I got a gun. I want to shoot people. I want to shoot my hand. I'm going to get a gun. I'm going to go shoot my hand here. Oh, wow. Look at the pain. Look at the blood. Look at the stuff like that. Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can do that to somebody else. Oh, well. Look at that. A little bit of a characterization there. Absurd, you may call it. Yes, it is. But in order to understand if and said, no, I just want a gun to kill people. I go to a doctor. Doctor, what's wrong with me? You're mentally unstable. Oh boy. Oh boy. I get, look at that. I got something on me. Ooh, I got a toy. I want a gun so I can shoot people. Can I get a gun to shoot people? Not in this state. Well, I moved to another state. No, you cannot. Yes, I can. Bye bye. Oh, look, I go into a state where guns are allowed. Look at all the guns all around the place. There, I got some money here. Can I get me a gun? Here you go. Ooh, look how shiny it is. How do you use this? Oh, just point and shoot. Oh, like this? Oh, he's got blood coming out of it. I see other targets. Oh, goody. Oh, no, here comes the badges now. Oh, I don't want to shoot him. Oh, there goes them now. Oh, where's me? I gotta run. I don't run fast. They're shooting back at me. Oh, look at the blood going here. I'm not having a good day today. Yeah, you think it's a bit comical like this point over here that I put this demonstration on here, but keep this in mind. They're talking about the crazy people having guns or not having guns at this point over here. In order to find crazy and insanity, we all have guidelines and different viewpoints of what considered sanity and what's considered insanity. With everything happening we're dealing with these days, I'm always asking myself, where's sanity in all of this? What is considered sanity? And if you do happen to go to a medical professional, and the medical professional happens to deem you insane, clinically insane, legally insane, somewhere in the lines of saying that you're not sane enough to deal with society and not mentally able to understand what you're doing. You are incompetent. So they're going to be putting this in records. And once they have that in records, once they got you certified as a nut job, and whatever kind of scientific mannerism or legal terminology they'll say you're fucking nuts. Okay, fine, you're fucking nuts. Now what's the next step? Well, either they lock your ass up in a place or they give you medications for it. But you have it on record. Now, this is a record between you and the doctor, unless they've already put it into the state of wherever this person's living in. So now we got government information here on you. We have medical information on you that you're legally insane. And because you're legally insane, are you allowed to go into a place to get a gun? Either by federal or by state law. Now, they would have to do a background check, usually criminal. If the nut job doesn't have a criminal background, what happens afterwards? All they have is medical. Ow! Wait a second. Medical. This is the HIPAA law. You cannot go past these hands. You cannot go past these hands. I have the information, but you cannot go past these hands. This is privileged private information. You have no choice. You cannot get to it. Because the HIPAA law is happening these days. It puts a barrier, a legalized barrier. Unless, of course, you have the state and the federal acting in order to circumnavigate that. And there goes your civil rights right there. Because now you have no privacy. You lost that. You lost that when you became part of the state somehow. So now they got a reason to keep you away from your guns. If you are sane, you feel you're still able to get a gun. Well, what happens if they start passing laws that go into your medical, psychological, and every other background they've got? You want to feel safe. You want to have your gun. You want to feel in love with your gun. You're going to have to sacrifice everything else you got for it. Including, how about a nice night to sleep it over. Oh, you're not entitled to that one, unfortunately. Now, you think I'm crazy at this point over here. Look at all the crazy laws that are being passed left and right. And over the past how many decades, we've got people concerning about gun rights, whether or not you actually are legal enough to own a gun or not. Second Amendment says a well-regulated militia. But they also said you cannot impinge the freedom of people having a gun. And that's what everybody has been stating all along. Because of the Second Amendment, we are entitled. Didn't say you're entitled. Where did it say it was entitled? I want to check that out. See, I can go online, research the information, and see if it is entitlement. You gotta love it when you have smartphones to do the job for you. So, Second Amendment I put on there. Okay. And we shall go over not to Wikipedia like everybody else goes to, but how about to the constitutional.org or to the law-cornell-education concerning about the Second Amendment. And I am going to post this like this. Read that. You can put it on pause if you can actually read that shit. I'll read it to you. Second Amendment in the United States Constitution reads a well-regulated militia, comma, being necessary to the security of a free state, comma, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, comma, shall not be infringed. What they're basing it off is the right of the people to keep and bear arms. That's the crux concerning about the assault weapons and the automatic weapons and every other type of artillery out there. So according to the Second Amendment, they never thought of futuristic guns. They only thought about the damn flintlocks because at the time that's all they had is the flintlocks. But they still had new guns coming out and they still honored the Second Amendment. So everybody had a right to get a gun. But they've also had laws passed to prevent people from getting killed from the guns. If you get killed by the gun, actually, if you're killing people by the gun, you're immoral and you're illegal because we say so in the law. You can have a gun, you just can't kill a person with a gun. So we have those laws in effect, theoretically. The Derek Chauvin trial at least doesn't have this one going. You just have a guy leaning on a person's neck and trying to break the damn thing, choking him to death. But in any other instances, we have cops shooting people left and right, misunderstandings, and wrong place, wrong time, wrong person, whatever's going on at this point over here. We still have death going on by guns. Regardless of who's carrying it, either law enforcement or non. So now, getting back to the nut job situation over here regarding the freedom. We have the freedom. Our rights shall not be infringed, right? Because at the time, we didn't want what the British were pushing down our throats. The British were saying, you can't have a gun. We're the only ones allowed to have a gun, so there. Because we do have a law, now the people are saying everybody should have a gun, including all the fucking nut jobs. Wait a second, where does it say that in the Constitution? Well, it says no one shall have the rights infringed to bear arms. Paraphrase it, but that's the thing. That includes nut jobs. So now comes the fun part in trying to define who's sane and who's legal for it. We don't want the nut jobs having the guns, and yet their rights shall not be infringed. So now we have to have laws to circumnavigate. And because we have the amendment process in the Constitution, they can modify federal laws. And they have done so. Judicial process, where the Supreme Court makes a decision which ultimately turns into a law of changing a few aspects of the Constitution, because we have that capability, because it was installed in there. But it comes to the crux of the rights of the individual and of the group at this point. How much of your rights are you going to be willing to give up for your freedom? And are you willing to keep that freedom like crazy? The freedom you want is the ability to shoot and kill people with your gun. You call it defense. You don't want the wrong person to have it. You want the right people to have it. And therefore, you've got a civil problem here, because now you're making clarifications and distinctions. If you look at the Second Amendment again, no one. Of course, you have to have an amendment to get those kind of clarifications now, can't you? But you're fighting against that one, aren't you? So we're doing the ring around the rosy regarding the damn gun rights at this point. You don't want the wrong people to have them, you want the right people to have them, but unfortunately you still support the First Amendment. You don't want to make an amendment clarifying or making a distinction of who's to get it or not. You want the Second Amendment to be gospel. You can't have it two ways. In order to have it the way you want, you're going to have to sacrifice your information and your freedom in order for the security of the country and of your own damn ass. Or shall I say, you're going to have to sacrifice everything you believe in. You want your guns, you have to give up a lot. Think about this one. Your health, your private information, everything about you, you're going to surrender it. You're going to have to surrender it to the state and or to the federal. If you want protections, you have to give it up. If you don't want your protections, you want your freedom at this point over here, you're not going to be protected. So don't start screaming for it. You can't have it two ways. You're either going to try doing a balancing, which means you're going to have to compromise somewhere, or you're going to have to live with what is. And if there's more shootings, there's going to be more death, more yelling, and more screaming at this point. And that means from the people who are surviving and dying at the same time. You want the crazy people. In order to define the crazy people, you need to have laws for that. And what happens if you're found crazy?
What happens if you're found crazy? I used to be a gun owner. I used to have an M60, and I used to carry it around. Oh boy, it was a joy to scare and crap out of kids. And then they made a law saying that the gun was illegal. But I had to shoot. And I showed in court. And I said the Second Amendment shall not infringe on my right to have this weapon. They're still in court these days. They're wondering about my mental status. I just been recently discharged from a mental hospital in Bascas. All the nice people go over there. They're nice and crazy, like me. And I was making allegations. I said, I was just dreaming about what people I could harm at this point. Once I get my M60, I just wanted to scare the living crap out of people. And then the nasty old doctor kept saying I'm insane, and I shouldn't go. I showed him. I sued him too. I sued the hospital. And they found me I was legally insane. And then we locked up the doctor. That was good old days. And now I miss the old hospital. I miss the old doctor. And now I get to carry old Bessie, old man 60 over here, and I get to scare the living crap out of kids. Only my problem is I'm in a state where gun laws are strict. I can't scare the kids, and the cops are always pointing their guns at me. I'm going to show them. I'm just going to take this M60, and I'm going to go. That'll prove it to them. I'm sane. I'm a sane guy.
Another characterization right there. I mean, hell, you take a clip like that and just say, I'm insane at this point over here. But you'll look at the other videos that tell you otherwise. So, you're an insane guy. You've been proven either insane or sane by the court system. By the medical establishments, they've already considered you as a fucking nut job, not able to be released out of the damn place. But somehow, through some kind of legal technicality, you get out. So now you're on the streets. And now you want your gun. You are insane and you want a gun. Now you're going to get a gun. Now you go to a place. You go to a place and you let loose. Now this is all a scenario here. Keep that in mind. In this scenario, you've been found sane enough to be released, but still insane under the doctor's care. Doesn't make sense. Welcome to legal. And welcome to reality. Because now, you're pointing your weapon at people and you're having fun firing the damn thing. Somehow, you got ammunition for it. And now you're pointing it at people. You're hurting people. You're killing people with this damn gun. You don't think there's anything wrong with it. We could do another extreme thing on this one. You're a normal person. Male, female, or from the other communities. You have had it. You feel people have pushed you around long enough. You've been told by the doctor you're having psychotic effects, but you're having nightmares. We have medications for you. Legal system can't help you out. There are certain things that happen that prevents you from winning court cases. Something happened. You lose your job. You lose your family. You lose someone you love. You lose something that snaps you in the head. And now you just want payback. You're hurt like crazy. You don't understand why or how. You find yourself at a gun shop or a gun swap meet. A gun show. Get yourself a nice handgun, a 45 or worse, a Glock. Modify it a little bit. Maybe you had a little bit of training back then, somewhere in your past. Make this gun your buddy. Name it. I'm going to call it Old Bessie. And you take Old Bessie. And you go to a place where you thought they hurt you the most. And you said to yourself, I'm going to hurt them back. Keep this in mind. You have been told that you have some issues, but didn't flag any warnings in the medical profession or in the legal professions that you are insane. And you take Bessie. So now, the screaming, the bloodshed, the cops coming. You realize and you wake up from your own self-deluded fantasy that the cops are going to kill you, so might as well kill yourself. Or you're going to have the cops shoot you, or you're going to surrender. Or, if you're lucky enough, you survive and escape. Very rarely. Usually the nut jobs usually get shot either by the cops or they get panicky enough and shoot themselves. If they happen to get caught, well, it's a rarity. Now, usually, well, we're seeing these nut jobs, and I'm using the word usually, usual, commonplace. Shootings becoming commonplace. It's like walking into a fast food restaurant ordering your favorite fast food. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't like the order. I'm going to shoot you. Bang. Oh, let's see. Let me go over across the shoe store, across the street from over here. They got my shoes wrong. Bang. I'm going over to the bank. I want more money. The bank didn't give me anything. Bang, 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 bang. Usual. The next day, guy's feeling so damn sorry for himself, he goes into another place and shoots the place up. Whatever the reasons are going on through these nut jobs over here, these are the people that the lawmakers are saying we have to watch out for. But in order to watch out for these guys, you need to have access to records. You need to access private records, which means you're breaking privacy records, which means you're breaking civil rights. You have to surrender your rights in order to have protection. There is no way around it. And these are the things we constantly see. And you have to understand this. In order to have a safe and secure environment, you have to surrender. Otherwise, it's business as usual. And it becomes commonplace. And we're going to have to get used to it. We're going to have to get used to the body count left and right. No, this is not liberal talk. This is reality here. This is reality. This is not liberal. We're not going to be able to get rid of the guns. We can't even limit the rights. But we can't go into medical records either. Unless we make sacrifices. Unless we're ready to make the sacrifices, it's business as usual. You might as well just say, let the bloodshed be continuing and normal at this point. Let there be more crying and more body bags being filled up. More crematoriums being used. More court trials. It's what you wanted. You wanted a nice, safe, secure world, you're going to have to give up a lot. Or else you're going to have to fight to get a balance going. And yeah, you do have a choice. Those are your only options. Have a nice day.